Good morning, fellow Malaysians. Matthias here again. Welcome to Future Fast Forward. Before I begin on the topic of today's address, let me once again thank all of you for the incredible support. In a very short period of time, I have only gave a few speeches, yet total hits on YouTube have not exceeded 200,000. And in that particular speech addressed to you entitled UMNO Leaders, Move Out, Stay Out, and Get Out of the Way, I was amazed that it has reached over 134,000 hits. This shows that you, the good people of Malaysia, share the same sentiments that I have about our country. And it's exciting, very inspiring, because we don't belong to any political party. We do not crave for power. What we have is an ideal, an aspiration for our country to move forward, to fight evil, the darkest evil that has set up on our country, the evil of corruption, of greed, of lies that has been shoved down our throat by present leaders hiding in the bunkers in Putrajaya. More so now, having been exposed internationally, their fraud, their scam, they are totally demoralized, lost, empty, beating drums to show to the world that they are doing something. But as I said many times before, it's all thunder and no rain, hollow, empty, zero. And I've asked all of you, help me to zip their gap, zip their mouth, so that we do not hear any more of their filth, their foul smelling filth, the trash, the bullshit and horseshit. In one of my earlier speeches, I make a reference that the only solution that we have for this country is to have a simple focus, a simple guideline, a simple direction, and a simple, for want of a better word, slogan. Put Malaysia first. I repeat, put Malaysia first. And we must reset our country so as to put Malaysia first. Because if we do not put our country first, we will be selfish, greedy, self-centered, corrupt, like the present politicians running our country. So this directive, this slogan, this clarion call, put our country first, is just mere rhetoric. If you think about it, meditate on these simple words, 2 words, Malaysia first, you will realize it makes a lot of sense. Because in due course, in this address, I will explain to expose to you in blunt terms that we hit home so hard that who I have exposed, the vested interest that is behind this scam, this bankrupt politicians, will hide in fear. Because I can tell you, no one till today have dared expose and dare say what I'm going to say to you. But before going forward to that expose, may I say that I have very young, dynamic people, bright people, hardworking people, self-made businessmen, Malay, Chinese, Indians, from all over the country, self-made businessmen, self-made employers giving opportunities to the employees to excel, and never depended on the patronage, the largesse of the government. It was through hard work, sheer hard work, discipline and dedication. And we're going to rely on them to show the way. So therefore, may I, in a very short period, in a few moments, tell you what we have in mind for our country. What we have in mind is a grand reset for Malaysia. And we have a target. Our target is for the next generation, our children and our children's generation. Target Malaysia 250 and beyond. And what we have installed, our blueprint, is beyond the imagination, I can tell you that, beyond the imagination of the present BN regime. It is even beyond the imagination of all the opposition parties. You know why? Because so long as you are a politician entrapped in partisan politics, entrapped in power grab, climbing over your party hierarchy to seize authority, to be a full-time politician, you cannot take out the box. They cannot envisage a vision beyond their narrow party self-interest. That is why I've assembled a team of which no one is a member of any party. We are non-partisan, but we love our country, and we have declared we will put our country first. And let me assure you, in fact, I will guarantee you, we will win on all fronts. On the economic front, social and political. There will be a total overhaul of our entire economy. I repeat, we will overhaul the entire economy. Please ponder these words. Because if we don't overhaul the economy, we will not move forward. We will still be mired in the quagmire, in the cesspool of corruption. Be subversive, be subverted, and in turn become subversives, and trapped in a straitjacket imposed by the present ruling elites. That's why we say we must have a total overhaul of our economy. And the strategy is very simple. It's based on what my grandmaster and my master taught me in Wushu, Qigong. The strategy of the Qigong horse stance. The horse stance means resting on two firm legs. The two legs being the two pillars that will support a superstructure of excellence. It will mean the entire transformation of our country, of our economy. Genuine transformation, not the crap that's dished out by young punks who have no practical experience. Recall those days, you know, the fourth floor boys of Pak Las administration, the fifth prime minister, dangling their so-called degree qualifications, wet behind the ears, no practical experience, but tout themselves to be expert to run a country. What happened? Total failure. But not this time. Because the people who's behind me, working with me, are not some flashy PhDs. PhD, what I call phony donkeys, or MSc, master screw-ups, BSc, bloody screw-ups, BA, bullshit artists. And there are many of them out there in government talking rubbish. Okay? We will transform the rural economy. And we will transform the capitalization of the industrial economy. Let me tell you, if what I'm saying is incorrect, I will overhaul. Then tell me why. After so many years of independence and policies, to today, we still have the rural-urban drift, the rural-urban income disparity, and poverty is still extreme in rural heartland. That's why, of the two pillars of the horse stance, the first is a dramatic, far-reaching transformation of the rural economy. And the spur of the engine, the drive, will be the green industrialization of the rural heartland. The first link, the first pillar of the foundation for excellence. The second link is turbocharging the domestic economy so that we will have a viable economy to give sustainable employment, innovation, and independence, genuine independence. These are the essential elements. I will not give details today. You know why? Because there is an election going on in Sarawak. If I were to dig all the details, I can guarantee you those pseudo-intellectuals will hijack our ideas and say it's their own and bluff the rakyat that they will implement it. So bear with me. I've given you the gist, the main concept, the macro concept. And let me just provoke my potential enemies who after watching this address will say, Matthias Chang is talking rubbish. No way he can achieve this. But let me tell you this. We have achieved it, and in due course, when I expose and explain in detail our plan, you'll be shocked. Like I said, it's beyond the imagination of the present Najib regime, of even all the opposition parties. Because no one dare do what I do. Because no one dare take on the vested interests and challenge the entrenched political infrastructure that's given rise to the monster of corruption, greed, and the Ponzi scheme. Let me give you an example what we can do. And you're going to say it's impossible, but I will guarantee you it's possible. Our plan, we can reduce the operating expenditure of this huge elephant, the government, by 50%. I repeat, our plan will entail a wipe-off of the leakage, the wastage, and the corruption that give rise to this huge balloon of the government machinery that suck up billions out of our budget. We can slash by 50%. Income tax will be 3% for the top 15% of the blue collar workers. 50% of that group of employees of our country, citizens, will only have to pay 3%. The rest, zero income tax. For those who are self-employed, creating employment, the small and medium scale industries, the dynamo of our industry, entrepreneurs, paving the way for progress, dynamism, maximum income tax, 5%. And for corporate tax, there'll be a flat rate across the board, 10%. All right? And there'll be incredible innovative incentives for those companies who exercise corporate responsibility. Our incentive will spur such innovation, such growth that will surprise everyone, not only our country, but also to our neighbors and to the rest of the world. I can assure you we can balance the budget within 2 years easily. And thereon, there'll be surplus every year. Surplus every year. Okay? Now they said, how can that be? He's not an economist. He's a lawyer. Precisely. Most economists are pseudo-economists. Theory. And they serve vested interests. The legal training has helped me to be logical, to go to the meat of a problem, to anticipate arguments, and give a solution, without which we can't win cases in court. Applying that experience of 40 years, combined with the expertise of self-made businessmen, without relying on government lagis or patronage, we will do it. We will not indulge what I call, is a very apt term, intellectual masturbation. I repeat, we will not indulge in intellectual masturbation like those four boys during Pak Last administration and regime. Now, let me read to you what it means, right? Some of you are really in horror. How can Matthias use such a crude term, intellectual masturbation? It means all thunder, no rain, all theory, all right? No practical experience. It's not my creation, it's two words, intellectual masturbation. If you Google in your computer, you find its meaning, and I read to you. Intellectual masturbation is defined as fascinating intellectual breakthroughs regarding reality, language, existence, knowledge, perception, or human behavior, which are, emphasis, completely unprovable and utterly without use, and therefore of no real consequence to anyone. Definition in the Urban Dictionary. And the etymology is the mental counterpart to masturbation, i.e., a process that is very pleasurable but hasn't accomplished anything at the end. Another definition from the Huffington Post, this very well known American media, the act of engaging in useless yet intellectual stimulating conversation, usually as an excuse to avoid taking constructive action in your life. Let me now zoom in for you so you read yourself. Alright? Read carefully these words. Pause and ponder. Alright? The first definition. Okay? And etymology. Alright? Now, the other definition. Alright? Read carefully. I'm not doing this, alright, for fun. Because I'm a very blunt person. Because for too long, we've been led by nincompoops, charlatans, political shamans, political bomos, who promise you heaven, give you good sound bites, you know, especially during election. Alright? All thunder and no rain. Intellectual masturbation. No more of that, I guarantee you. Our policies, our strategies is based on reality. Hard reality, experience, and success. That's why I dare say to you, all of you, that we have come out with an incredible vision for Malaysia. Why? Because our guiding principle is put Malaysia first. Alright? So bear that in mind. Two simple concepts. Put Malaysia first as your ultimate and only guiding principle to get rid of corruption, self-interest, greed, Ponzi schemes. Okay? And second, no more intellectual masturbation, no more propaganda, no more lies and sound bites. Reality. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you something that will shock you, because no one dares say it, which will be the reason why I say I will succeed. We will succeed working with you, good people of Malaysia. This country has evolved into an oligarchy. An oligarchy means a group of people having full control of the political power, the economic power to run this country, and their whims and fancies for their self-interest. It's called oligarchy. And plutocracy means a country run by the top financiers, the elites. And I'm telling you, whether you're Malay, Chinese, Indian, Dayak, Kadazans, whatever, every policy has been subverted. Mainly by the last two regimes, the Pala regime and now the Najib regime. If you don't believe me, I'll give you two examples. Okay? Especially to my Malay Muslim brethren and sisters, you have been cheated, lied and plundered by your own leaders, Muslim and Malay leaders. Wake up. Why? Give an example. I've always supported the NEP, the National Economic Policy, and affirmative action to elevate poverty, especially among the Malays. Because the bulk of the country, the majority of people are Malays. Therefore, the Malay community will have more poor people as compared to the Chinese, Indians and other races. I believe in that policy, affirmative action. But think back. We have now reached a stage where most Malay young people, from the time you went off O-levels or A-levels into the college and universities, it's a crying shame you have become debt slaves. Some of you got scholarship, fine. But now they've wasted so much of our money that bright young Malays and other races, but mainly Malays, have to borrow money to study. Can you imagine that? And even then, that is a privilege. Because if you don't subscribe to the political party in power, if you belong to the opposition parties, you can't even smell that loan. Can you imagine that? You're victimized for your politics or for your religion. Therefore, we are saying education must be political blind, ideological blind, or religious blind. Everyone must be entitled. But right now we have a situation. You as a student, before you start in life, you become a debt slave. Chained, okay? With a huge debt. Then you graduate, you look for a job, you get more debts, higher purchase. My time, when I started work, higher purchase only for 3 years. But because the cost of living is so high, you have higher purchase for a car for 9 years, mind you. 9 years or more. Some even 10. And a car get depreciated and get old in less than 10 years. You buy again. Another debt, continuing debt in higher purchase. And let's say you get married. What happens? You either have to rent a house or buy a house. You have to borrow money. You have to feed your family. You have to look after your older parents, give them allowance. Debt again. And the house is 30 years. Forever in debt. You are a debt slave. Wake up. The affirmative action policy has failed you. And those of you who have this scholarship, fine. You come out to work. Thereafter, what happens? Has the government really helped you? Give you a lift up to succeed? No! Wake up, my fellow Malay, Saudara and Saudari. Only a rich, selected, privileged class are enjoying the fruits, the distorted fruits of the NEP. You know what they are? Scumbags, parachuted, not self-made entrepreneurs, but parachuted top executives in all the GLCs. In all the GLCs, okay? Robbing you blind, are paid exorbitant salaries, all the perks. And guess what? Their children get scholarships. Their children get scholarships. They can afford to send the children, but yet they still apply for scholarships. So it is now, I'm telling you, my fellow Saudara-Saudaris of the Malay community, your people, these fat cats have distorted NEP for their advantage and to disadvantage. We'll put an end to this. No more. I guarantee you. I think it's Chinese or what? It's a matter of principle. And then there are other group of fat cats exploiting the patronage and the luggage of government contracts. And what do? They team up with the China Kwai fat cats. Okay? The two together in a symbiotic relationship, parasitic Alibaba. Okay? They make so much filthy money. It's disgusting. Disgusting. You know why? These bastards, I'm calling them bastards. I'm not going to, all right, mean my words, because why? It's an insult to intelligence. And these people have the audacity, all right, having made money in Malaysia, suck the blood out of our country through privilege, patronage, all right, the corrupt system of awarding contracts. Did they do what? They park their money overseas. They buy manors in England, chateaus, fantastic houses overseas. And then what? They tell the poor people, all right, study Bahasa Melayu, study the Chinese language, mother tongue. But they send their children overseas to English medium private colleges. In England, it's called public schools. Why they don't practice what they preach? Uphold Bahasa Melayu. Uphold Chinese language. Mother tongue language. No. These scumbags, fat cats, Malay, Chinese, Indians, oh my God, they conspire to rob us, and they do the opposite what they preach in newspapers, in propaganda, in their party. And then what? They go overseas. And then they come back. Oh my God! As if the angels pure virgin. As if, oh, I'm against corruption, I'm against this, I'm against that, you know. Oh, wayang kulit. You know, when they come to my office, when they see me, I tell them, you know, piss off. You renegade, you hypocrite, because you make money in Malaysia, you plunder Malaysia, you park your money overseas, send your children overseas on scholarship sometimes to learn at advantage in English medium. But then you do your stupid propaganda and make sure all the poor Malays, the poor Chinese are ended up, right, in schools that lack amenities or the qualified teachers to teach. And then use the propaganda. Hidup Bahasa Melayu. Hidup Bahasa Cina. Knowing that, they'll be disadvantaged. Okay? So I'm saying, no more. No more of this nonsense. We will ensure all our children are multilingual. Nothing to mother tongue, okay? Yes, official language will be Bahasa Melayu. Malay language, okay, Bahasa Melayu. Don't say bahasa kebangsaan lah, you know. English language, English lah. Am I right? No, German is German. Be proud. Say it, Bahasa Melayu. Malay language. We also want to learn the English language. And we need be, because of the shift in the global economics. We may even have to learn Mandarin, not because I'm a Chinese and a chauvinist, no, as a necessity to compete with them in an objective way. Alright? So, my dear fellow Malaysians, there are many fat cats out there. Okay? Some of them condemn. You know, the other day, a group of, businessmen, Tan Sris and this Datuk and Datings and To Puans and Puan Sris, all these people, okay, had a dinner with very powerful politicians. The first thing they said was like, we saw this videotape of Matthias Chang talking. He was so blunt, he seems very angry. Why can't he use polite language? So one of them came up to me and I told him, why don't you shut up, zip your mouth, because when you open your mouth, right, filth come out. Right? If you are so concerned about the welfare of the Raya, say something lah, say something. Give a speech in your own Queen's English, in your own polite English, and see whether anybody follow you. Because if what I say is wrong, if the manner of speech is wrong, how do you account for over 200 hits in just over a short period of time? And in one particular speech, 134 hits, 134,000 hits, and it's still growing and climbing up. You see, these rich people, these Tan Sris, Datuk and Datings, they always say, I can't do anything lah. Nak jaga perut, I have a business. Oh, they have business. I'm not jaga my family, they have families. But you don't have families? You may not have business, but would you not be at risk your job if they victimize you? You see, they are cowards lah. So let me tell you, my fellow Malaysians, be wary of these fat cats who tell you, alright, fight for the country. When you see fat cats, such Tan Sris, such Datuks, businessmen, who are in Alibaba business, comprados, right? Partners in crime, like Jolo and one MDB, these are the example, right? China Kwai, Malay Kwai, Indian Kwai, all coming together, robbing the country. Okay, these are people who talk most about helping the country build. But they are scumbags. Scumbags. They're all the same, whether they are Malay, Indian, or Chinese. But we will build a new nation because we put Malaysia first. And our nation will be made up of Malays, Chinese, Indians, Dayak, Kedusuns, who are all self-made men. And we have expertise, the discipline, and the dedication to make it work. Trust me. In due course, I will tell you how we're going to do it. Alright? You think about it. We will abolish GST. And we don't even have to do it, right? By becoming a minister. I have no ambition for that. Our ambition to sheer power, moral power, leadership power, will impose on these so-called parties do what's right for the country, do what's right for your people, or else we can come after you. We will hunt you down for your betrayal of our country, for the betrayal of your religion and God Almighty. Because although we have that slogan, put Malaysia first, our collective spiritual directive will be, we surrender completely to the will of God And we will have absolute faith that He will defend us, guard us, and protect us in all circumstances. Alright? In the face of all enemies' adversities, we are not afraid. Because we will prevail. And I guarantee that we will prevail and we will succeed. So I hope in this address, I've given you a glimpse of what you're going to do in the future. Alright? I'm telling you, think about it. Is it not possible to reduce all these things? The wastage? It is. You'll be shocked. The amount of money that's been plundered out of this country. You'll be shocked. And yet they put the petty criminals in jail. But these criminals, the Joe Lows, Kim Loon, and those in 1MDB, oh my God, they rape in the billions. They rape in the billions. So if we put a stop to this financial rape, to this outright plunder, to these fat cats milking and sucking our country dry and then park the money overseas, if all this were to come back, we tell that no more, stop it, or we come after you and put you in cells and throw the key away, I guarantee you, we have more than enough money. But they say to you now, hey, Matthias say this, say that. No way he will bankrupt the country. I can't bankrupt the country, I'm telling you. Why? Because with all these monies right now in the kitty, in the coffer, having been robbed blind by these fat cats, we are now facing bankruptcy. So how can I do worse? I can't do worse. So in conclusion, my dear fellow Malaysians, have faith in the strength of our own unity, of our own determination, our own resilience, and most importantly, our faith in God Almighty. With that, I thank you all once again for your attention, and let's move forward. Put Malaysia first. Thank you.